The dates Sandy Keller had been on hadn't been so disastrous in at least 6 months, maybe longer. She'd been out with so many men she'd lost count. Of course, she hadn't ever had to drive out to Three Rivers Ranch to pick up her date before. That was a new low. And so was having him say the words, "my girlfriend," while she paid for dinner. She fumed as she pulled into the parking lot, the long drive of shame back from the ranch finally over. Sandy didn't want to return to the Pancake house, where she'd have to explain to the night manager how utterly ridiculous dating in Three Rivers had become. "Only for you," she muttered as she turned the corner and headed toward the back building. Her oasis away from everything, her condo sat around the rear of the building, giving her unprecedented views of the Western Range. Living on the very edge of town had its perks, she supposed. She pressed the brake too hard, jerking her car to a stop. Someone had parked in her designated space, again. Muttering, she backed up and found an uncovered parking spot, eyeing the red SUV like it had done her a personal wrong. She unlocked her front door and eased into her condo like she was settling into a warm bath. Coming home had always brought her comfort. So had cooking. She whipped out a batch of oatmeal chocolate chip cookies, slid the tray into the oven, and disappeared into her bedroom to change. She wished she could slip away from the night's horrors as easily as she shed one set of clothes and replaced them with silky pajamas. She looked at herself in the bathroom mirror, trying to see her flaws. Oh, she had them, a lot of them. But she couldn't understand why everyone around her seemed to be able to find someone to love, and she couldn't. No more dating anyone from the ranch, she told her reflection. Sure, she'd been on some fun dates with some nice guys, but she hadn't made it past the 3rd date in over a year. There had to be something wrong with her, but looking at her brown eyes and highlighted brown hair, she couldn't see it. So, like she'd done dozens of times before, she returned to the kitchen to drown out the memories of her terrible date in ooey gooey chocolate. The timer beeped once as she came out of her bedroom, the signal that it had been going off for a while. Her adrenaline spiked. How long had she been staring at herself in the mirror? Thin white smoke issued from the vents at the rear of the oven. She hurried into the kitchen, grabbed the oven mitts from the drawer, and yanked open the door. Smoke and heat and vapor smacked her in the face. She cringed and pulled back, her stomach rioting over the loss of the cookies. She'd barely slammed the ruined sheet of what was going to be her saving grace for the night on the stovetop when someone opened her front door. Panic poured through her in waves, and she lifted her still oven-mitted hands like she could ward off any attack with them. "Sandy?" a man asked. Through the haze, Sandy made out the tall form of her brother, Hank. Relief made her sag against the peninsula. Just as quickly, she straightened and marched into the living room. "What are you doing here?" Hank lifted his duffel bag. "We're here for the holidays." He peered at her, something he had to do to actually see her through the smoke hanging in the air. "Did you forget Ma was getting new floors done this week?" He gestured to someone standing behind him. "You said me and Tad could stay here." Sandy tried to see her brother's best friend from college, but he lingered directly behind Hank. "I did say that." She stepped back. "Come on in. I haven't gotten the beds made up yet. Weren't you coming tomorrow?" "Willow's coming in tomorrow." Of course, Willow, Hank's bubbly, blonde girlfriend. Well, fiancé, now that he'd asked her to marry him.